Today, I'm making butter chicken. This has some bone in it, so I'm going to quickly take that out. Good enough. First step, we are going to dice up this chicken. I typically like to use a darker chicken, but today all I have is chicken breast, so we're going to cut this part and get this dish going. Now, I'm probably going to get a little bit of hate for this, but I'm just going to be using a bottled buttered chicken. I don't really have the spices to make one from scratch, so I'm cheating, and I'm going to use kind of like a quicker recipe that you can probably throw together in 15 minutes. Because during the week, I'm like everybody else. I probably don't want to cook when I get home from work. And on Wednesdays, I like to go out and play volleyball. Ooh, Mr. Brown. So the size of these doesn't really matter. You just want them to be probably 1-inch cubes, or just make it into bite-sized bits that you can load on your fork and stick in your mouth. Should be pretty close to done. That's going to be good enough for me. So let's grab a pan and get this cooking. A stainless steel pan. Use whatever pan you have. Honestly, doesn't matter. Let's get this chicken in here. Don't forget, clean your cutting board. All right, now that we have the chicken in the pan, we're going to go ahead and throw a little bit of olive oil on top. Moisturize the pan a little bit. A little bit of salt on it. A little bit of black pepper. And finally, what I like to do on a little bit of everything is a little bit of garlic powder, especially because it's already going to be in the butter chicken sauce. Let's get that cooking. We're going to use the VH butter chicken sauce. Once the chicken is cooked, we're going to throw that in. In the meantime, we're going to get our rice ready. If you're cooking for two cups of rice is probably plenty. Oil's getting hot, so we're going to give this a good mix. All right, and we're going to let that keep cooking. Next, my fiance requested that I cook it with broccoli today, and we're just going to pick this apart. I haven't liked vegetables until the last 3, 4, 5 years. Liking vegetables is a new thing for me, probably because I have control over my own cooking, so I can make it the way I like. If you don't like vegetables, just try and cook it a different way. Boiled tends to be the worst way I find to have vegetables. So yeah, just experiment and figure out what works for you. Just going to cut these into little tiny sticks. I'm Corey, by the way. Thank you for checking this out. This is just kind of a hobby I've picked up on my own. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what I'm doing, but I like cooking, so I'm sharing it with you. I'm going to let the chicken come up to temperature, and then I'm going to add my broccoli in, and I'm going to cover it so it kind of steams the broccoli before I add the sauce. If you're doing this for your first time, don't do the broccoli. It's just something I know I will like, so I'm doing it. There we go. My scraper is nice and clean. Now my chicken is coming up to temperature very nicely. It's still a little pink in some places, but I'm going to go ahead and add the broccoli so that it continues cooking while the broccoli's in there instead of kind of getting overcooked and dry. So let's do that now. I should have shown you this before I added the broccoli, but this is what the chicken looks like right now. You see it's kind of a little wet on the outside. That's what we like. So I'm going to go ahead and keep cooking this and get that broccoli nice and steamed a little bit. My rice just started bubbling, so I'm going to turn down the heat to low. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to keep an eye on it because when you put the lid on, it tends to overboil. So just kind of play it by ear. Clean as you go. Don't stop to move. So I'm going to add a little bit more salt now that I've added the broccoli. A little bit of garlic too. Just help season the broccoli a little bit, because remember, like I said, I don't like vegetables that much. I like them the way I cook them. Our rice did start to overboil a little bit, so I'm just going to take the lid off and let it cool down as the temperature in the pot comes down. It's on low right now, so it should only be a matter of time. Chicken looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and throw a lid over that. Let it steam until the broccoli is nice and soft where you can stab a fork into it. So I will be right back. I think the broccoli might already be done. If it's easy to split apart, I'm just using my wooden spatula. This is going to cook for another couple minutes, so I'm just going to put a lid on it and wait. All right, let's check that again. We're cooking a few more minutes. All right, so everything's kind of cooked together. We're going to go ahead and add our trusty butter chicken sauce. hit the lid from the top the other day, and like a piece of glass just popped out of the jar I was smacking. So smacking to the bottom, not the top. I'm just going to let that come back up to temperature because it did cool it off by adding that to the mix. And once it's up to temperature, we are good to go. Here we are, buttered chicken, a little bit of greens, not typical for this dish. Something I like. You don't need to try it. It's something I'm going to do. Broccoli is a superfood, so I'm hoping that it's extra healthy for me. My fiance Meg's going to be home from work soon. I made enough for two, so she will be able to eat with me and have a little bit of leftovers for tomorrow. I think this serves maybe 3-4 people, depending how much chicken you want to make, how much you want to eat. If you really like it, might only be one night. Ooh. There you go. I'm gonna fluff up that rice a little bit. Here you have it. Thanks for coming to Cooking with Corey. I'm gonna go eat.